What is the most disastrous interview you've ever done as an interviewer? And you don't have to like name names. That if you want to, you can. But I'm more
Yeah,
interested in
yeah.
like as somebody who interviews people, I'd love to learn like what went wrong, why it was bad. Maybe there's none. Maybe
Yeah.
you've knocked it out of the park every time.
Oh, no,
But
there's definitely
yeah,
one.
okay, yeah. Let me know.
There's there's one who was like this was like typically not always a telltale sign, but like there's one who reached out to me specifically to be on the show. This was like early on,
I
maybe
usually
one
say
of
no to
the
those. I'm always skeptical.
exactly, very much so. And I didn't know that because it was early. It was maybe the first like 30 or 40, one of the
Mhm.
first ones. And it was when I was doing not necessarily just founders, it was kind of across the board. So this one, they just one, they droned on about everything. Every answer, feel like I couldn't get them to be concise in any way, shape, or form. And I would take full responsibility for some of that when it's like you have to warn your guests like how to do
Mhm.
that, especially if they haven't been on a show before, they don't know. So some blame on me for that. But they droned on for every answer, and it was clear they were kind of like sell more than like
Yeah.
just
Then
be
chat.
natural. Yeah,
Yeah.
then have a conversation. It wasn't a conversation at all, which wasn't enjoyable for me. It lasted way too long. It felt like, how do I get out of this? Like, it was
Yeah.
a lot of like, felt trapped behind the mic. It was terrible. And I was like, never again. Like, I will never again. Like, I will be more prepared. I will make sure to vet the guest
Taught
more.
you the
I
lesson.
will only talk to people who like I'm genuinely think I'll be excited to chat with. And this was already hesitant in the beginning, and I went with it anyways, and like all of those things I would never do again.
Yeah. Um, so that was, you said that was the first 30. What about the best interview on the opposite side? And why did
Yeah,
it go so well?
I almost always think of Rob Mather from Against Malaria Foundation.
Mhm.
Anything where people like think differently about things, I love because that just like changes your whole mindset shift, whatever. But he started Against Malaria Foundation. It's basically like one of the most impactful charities in the world. So like if you look up like charity rankings and stuff, like Against
Mhm.
Malaria Foundation always ranks like highest or like one of the highest, like every year. And started from like, wanting to make an impact. Uh and one of the things he mentioned in that interview, which is why I enjoyed it so much, was like this idea. I don't know if it's like 7 minute thing here. The idea basically of using like only a few minutes of time, how could you make maximum impact? For him,
Mm.
it was like a 1 minute call with like 5 to 10 of the most impactful, like important people that would help his cause. And it just makes you think a little bit different when people put limits on something or they put like these our own kind of blockers on things. It's like you could really probably do 10 times, 100 times more than you think if you kind of thought of it or took a different approach to it,
Mhm.
which is why sometimes it's hard when you're just kind of cranking through stuff. You're like, well, but if you took a step back and maybe it'd actually be better. So that interview was just enjoyable, building something impactful, learned some things from it, was a joy to talk to. And I've had many interviews that I truly have enjoyed. Like you sit back after, you're like, what just happened? That was amazing. Like you're like kind of like had to take a walk or something. Like
Yeah.
I've had many of those, but Rob Mather from Against Malaria Foundation is always one of the ones that stands out.
I'll check that one out.
Yeah.
Okay, how about any advice first advice for other podcasters, anybody out there who like is, whether they're thinking of starting one or they're deep in one, what advice would you give about podcasting?
I mean, at first, it's always just about like figuring out what you want from it.
Okay, yeah.
And you may not know at the beginning, but having at least an idea of what you want from it is something. I knew I wanted to build relationships as a starting point.
Mm.
So I
Oh,
was willing to,
so wait, sorry to interrupt. That's really interesting to me because like it's clear that that's what came out of it for you, but like
yeah.
I'm surprised that that was like what went into like that was your thing at the start. Is like this is a networking tool for me.
Yeah, because I was doing it as blog posts originally, but I didn't get to talk to people and form a relationship with them. When I was doing it as blog posts, I
Were you
was doing
doing like
guest posts,
written survey
interviews.
interviews or
Yeah,
something? Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And I was like, well, I can't talk to them. I can't ask follow ups. I can't like build any rapport with them. So then I was like, wait a minute, like, it has to be a podcast.
You can't interrupt
That's
them
the only
like I
way.
just did you to ask a follow-up question.
Correct. You can't do that. But some interruption is good though.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
Jason Calacanis is maybe sometimes too much, as an
Mhm.
example. Love like his style, but like, it always stands out to me when some people do too much of it. But you can't do any of that with a written interview,
Mhm.
which is the limitation.